Raghunath, are you ready for this?
What?
The Wisdom of the Sages trainings that are going on.
Where?
At the Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village in India.
Why?
To totally transform your life spiritually.
Who?
You, me, Raghunath Swami's going to be there. Other great teachers are going to be there. Lots of cool people.
How?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. You find all the information there.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Supersoul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastubadas. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is Thursday. What's our theme? Do we have a usually Thursday theme?
You tried something, I forget what it was.
Tell a Friend Friday, Walk on Wednesday, Makeover Monday, Arranged Marriage Tuesday. There was no there was no Thursday.
Okay, we'll have to work on
Thursday. Thursday is the awkward day of the week where you just call it R, right? You don't even call it a T. It's R day. So sad for Thursday. What day is Thursday in the Vedic calendar? Thursday is Saturn, right? Jupiter. It's the Guru Dwar. We need a Hindi speaking person here. Guru Dwar. Chintamani says. Tommy's just counting.
Says, no. You're wrong.
No.
She's saying something
You're
else.
wrong. You're wrong
But
again.
we're not lip readers.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board.
Thursday's thirst for knowledge. I know, but there's a planet that goes with it, a corresponding planet. Mara, Google search. How do you say Thursday in Hindi?
Tomini's on it. She's gonna give us something any second here.
Mara, when I say something like I'm confused, you got to be like all over your computer Googling things. You got to be like that guy in Joe Rogan, Jamie, who's always right there. Good morning.
Not even
it's a little too early. I don't think Joe Rogan does it at 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
Oh, okay.
All
right,
good morning, everybody.
Yeah. Let's get into this.
Yeah. Any announcements, Kastuba, sir?
No, I don't have any announcements.
Mary, you got any announcements?
Probably go to Bhakti Center tonight. Thursday
all right,
night,
Gurudwar. Here it is. Gurudwar is Thursday. And
Guruvar
is Jupiter. Guruvar.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Bhakti Center tonight, Thursday night kirtan. I plan on being there.
Are we talking about what we're doing tonight?
That's my announcement?
That's
He's
your announcement.
announcing.
What we're doing tonight?
He's inviting everyone.
I'm inviting people to come. What's
all right.
Thursday night.
Sorry. We got to host a lives here. We got Moses, Cindy Lunsford, Patrick Hefferman, getting ready for the big weekend here at the farm.
Yeah. Okay.
With me and Cindy and Bobby Marchand is cooking up a storm, and it's going to be good. We've been doing kirtan every night with the kids.
Nice.
And it's been good.
Can I make those announcements?
Yeah, more announcements over here from Mara.
Mara's going away, by the way, tomorrow. You know that, right?
That's the big announcement today. Mara's like just
I think this is the second time. Fumbling around. Mara's never missed a show, pretty much.
No, she did miss one once before. I remember it.
I went to California.
Yeah, I remember that. She came back all different. She came back all different.
That was Malibu Mara, remember?
That's right.
It came back bronze.
And we said something like every time you miss a show, you have to learn a shloka or something like that. Didn't we have something like that? Yeah, she knows it. It's true. Any case, what's the announcements?
Back to Recovery group meeting today at noon. And then the Back to Recovery retreat is going on at Supersoul Farm October 4th through 7th, followed by the Wisdom of the Sages retreat October 7th through 9th.
All right.
There's info on the website, wisdomofthesages.com.
Okay. Are you ready for Chant Camp California, Costuba? We're going next weekend. And we got to figure out the times because we are doing live. We've taken our place to you, and people are going to be there live. We're going to do the show live. I'm really excited about it.
Well, we could probably still do it at the same time. It would be 5 a.m. there, right?
Well, the weekends it'll be okay, but I think we're all going on Thursday, right, Kastub? We all travel out there on Thursday, so Friday's show.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
We'll have to change that.
I'm going to figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
Let's get
You want
into
to go
it.
with
We
our
got a
nugget today, sir?
Yeah, we're back.
Got a good nugget. We're back on Goethe. It's Goethe week.
Yeah. How many ways can we pronounce it?
All right. Here, this is a good one because there's a lot to do with. Anyway, we'll get into it. None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free.
So read that again. Read it more dramatically and with pause.
More dramatically than that.
There needs to be a
None are
pause.
more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free.
Okay.
You know what comes to mind immediately?
For you, I don't know. For me, I do know. But tell me.
Okay. I was thinking of, there's the Bhagavad-gita, the 7th chapter describes the 4 types of people that will never surrender to Krishna.
Okay.
Right. I'm not going to quiz you, Mara. You're off the hook. But one of them is the mudha. And it's a good example of a person who, it's like in India, you don't see so much anymore, but like in village life, you would see like a donkey carrying not a little cart, a cart filled with so much hay, straw, and sticks or bricks that it's like there's no way this poor animal can carry so much, and it's working so hard. But they say that the donkey's mind is always feeling like, well, it's worth it because there's a little grass over there. All I got to do is get some grass, and then
at the end, I'll get some grass.
At the end, yeah, I do a little work. Now I get a little grass. It's so good. What a good deal I have. And that's compared to the people who are so wrapped up in their mind in the mode of passion. Now, another part of that analogy before I get into that is the donkey's not realizing there's grass everywhere. You just walk away from your load, there's grass everywhere. Everybody gets grass, right? Grass is available at all times. So in the same way, sometimes we get caught up in this hope to enjoy. That's the mode of passion. It's not actual enjoyment. There's a hope that I will enjoy the future. So I'm just going to work my ass off right now because there's going to be a payoff. So I'm not saying don't work, but at the same time, sometimes we work at such breakneck speeds, so 24/7, and there's never a finish line. And we're missing out on the joy of existence. And we sort of created this culture of debt and of working and of debt and of purchasing and consumption and of debt and of just back to work. And where is the actual enjoyment? When do I actually even get to enjoy these things? Well, I got this very expensive brand new car so I can drive it right back to my work.
Well, that's a good point. I did think a little bit about driving to work and all that. Like if we're free, why are we all doing these things that we don't want to do every day? like sitting in the traffic and but immediately what I think of when I hear this nugget is I think back to my youth when I first began to feel free. I still even have like when I was a kid, like 15 years old, I would hit the Lower East Side, right? And you start, you come out of the subway at Astor Place there.
Yep.
And you start walking down St. Mark's Place and you begin to feel like I'm free, like I'm making my own decisions now, like when I think about it now, I was only 15 years old. It's kind of like crazy.
I know
what I was walking
I'm
into.
going to call your parents right now. What were you thinking?
But like I felt free. I felt like now I'm making my own decision. Up till this point, I've just kind of been directed where to go.
Right.
And now it's me that's making the decisions. I'm free, and everything felt exciting. Like that whole world felt exciting. And I tell you something, Ragnar, I don't know if you ever, but like you ever have those kind of like subtle experiences? Like it's like you taste something from the past in your, I guess in your mind. It even feels like it's in your body, that like some subtle flavor of how you used to feel like 30 or 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes I even feel that when I'm down there, I just get a little subtle taste of like what I was feeling at the time. It was so it was
Don't
like,
bring Kostuba to the Lower East Side. Just running around.
But my point is this: I thought I was free. I thought, and it was like there's drugs and there was music and there was girls and there was like all these things. I was thinking like now I'm doing what I want to do.
Right. It's
and
intoxicating.
I look back now and I realize I just had programmed into my mind through whatever I was exposing it to, whatever music and television and films and all. It had created an idea in my mind.
Romanticism, perhaps,
You could
of
say, yeah,
what freedom
romanticism.
is.
You know, I got this idea of what it means to enjoy life and what's exciting, and I was following that program, right? Like if I had been exposed to completely different, if I wasn't listening to the Rolling Stones when I was like 12 years old and 11 years old or something, and I was, you know, exposed to a whole different, you know, just a whole, you know, like just different content,
Yeah.
my mind would have been programmed in a different way,
Oh, that's
and I
interesting.
would have been going somewhere else and doing something else, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and now I realize I was just like, you know, sometimes they say it's like a bull with a ring in its nose, just getting pulled here and there. I wasn't free at all. I was just following the dictation of my senses.
Mhm.
And if we examine our lives closely, we'll see it's like this, that we're following the program in our mind. Sometimes I use this example. It's a little graphic, Raghunath. You ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Well, it's like like in America. I was just asking someone Italian about this. I said, you know, like when we grew up, there's this dish called shrimp scampi, right? It's like an Italian dish, right?
It's getting graphic.
It's
Shrimp
kind of great.
scampi. Shrimp
It is.
scampi. Are we going to shrimp scampi at 6
We're
a.m.?
going to shrimp scampi, you know, which is like a shrimp dish, which has got like, it's like buttery and it's got olive oil in there, and basil.
You trying to
all
sell
that.
me on shrimp scampi?
I'm not. Just try to hear me out.
The
I'm gonna work with you.
and olive oil.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take some.
So, but my point is, it's like, say you went, say like you came over to my house, right? And you
Yeah.
smelled these nice aromas, and I
Yeah.
was inviting you over for dinner, and you're like, oh man, this smells good. I just can't wait for the meal. And then I brought it out and I opened up like the whatever, you know, like the, you know, I showed it to you, and it was cockroaches in there, right? Like it was like, say it was like cockroaches, you know, sauteed in butter and olive oil and with, you know, with basil and so on. You would be horrified, would you not?
Yes.
It would be
Yes.
like absolutely repulsive with this disgust. But shrimp scampi is the same thing.
Sort of the
It's,
same, isn't it?
you look at the shrimp and
Bottom
you look at the
feeders.
cockroach. Yeah, they're bottom feeders. They have the hard outer shell. They got the beady little eyes. They got the antenna moving around. They got like lots of little arms, and they're doing the same thing.
I get
Like
it.
you
So
said.
you're saying we're programmed to think it's completely normal to eat shrimp scampi, bottom feeding at the bottom of the ocean, as opposed to cockroaches. And it's just a cultural twist. And if I go to
Exactly.
Thailand, they're actually,
Eating the
they're
cockroach. Yeah,
eating the
yeah.
cockroaches fried in mustard oil,
And we're
etc.
thinking it's insane.
And we're thinking it's insane. And just because we've been programmed a little different, I get that.
Yeah. So are we
I hear you.
free, or are we just following the programming that's been placed in our mind? You know, it's called the manas. You know, that impulsive part of the mind that's just been programmed by what we see. You know,
Mhm.
what we see. We grow up seeing people like the cockroach is the worst thing in the world. You want to poison your whole home to get rid of them. They're terrible. If one stepped on you, if one of them crawled across the table while you're eating, you're completely repulsed. What to speak of actually eating one?
Crawled across my hand in India once while I was sleeping.
Okay.
I went, I flicked it right, landed right on Bhakta Tony's head.
Well, let's not go into that train ride that we had that one time. Remember going from Bangalore to
that was so good.
Yeah, right. But
South India, the train.
that's a whole story in itself.
All right,
But we grew up seeing people eat shrimp cocktail, shrimp scampi. Like it's like, hey, it's great. It's a
Shrimp
delicacy.
cocktail. We like shrimp so much we're gonna make it into a drink.
It's not a drink.
Not a drink. It's shrimp
No.
cocktail's not a drink. I thought
No.
it was a drink. I thought it was an alcoholic beverage.
No. But you get my point though, right? It's just it's there's no logic to it. It's just we follow the programming that's in our mind. So the yogi says, I'm tired of just following the programming. I've been following the programming for I don't know how many lifetimes, wandering around the universe from body to body, from planet to planet, like we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Following the programming. I want to break free. So no one is more helplessly enslaved. I get it right now. I'm kind of enslaved, but at least I know it, and I can begin to operate. I can begin to say, I'm going to reprogram that mind. I'm going to begin to expose my mind to the kind of knowledge, the kind of wisdom, the kind of insight, the kind of visions, the kind of sounds, that will help me find my freedom. That's what the yogi says.
I like this. Like, what is the original unprogrammed self? I think about this all the time. What, right? We've been programmed in so many ways culturally, through Hollywood, through parents. What is normal? What is my real normal?
Yeah.
And it's hard to combat. Like, why am I wearing what I'm wearing? Why am I wearing red glasses? What, why does everyone wear a
Why
beard?
are
now?
you wearing those red glasses?
Why does everyone have beards now? And they didn't have beards like in the 80s. Like if you had a beard in the 80s and look back at fashion and haircuts and haircuts for my graduating class, they're quite ridiculous. But at one time, back then, it was like, oh,
yeah. Well, fashion is a
hair.
great example of it because it moves so quick. All right, like
So the next question is like, well, what am I original? What's the normal me? And that's the and there's no real answer to that in the material sphere because it's always changing.
Right.
But there is a real us, and it's layered underneath the costume changes that we go through in
Krishna
this
Prema,
life.
right? Like we say that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, that love, right? Divine love is there within us all. That's what's underneath all that conditioning.
That's what's postulate 1 is, my friend.
Postulate 1. I'm a lover by nature.
I'm a lover by nature. That's what we are.
So that verse Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, it's saying that Shravanadi Sudichitik Karya Udai, that through Shravanadi, Shravana means
hearing.
Mara. Yeah, I was going to hit Mara with that one.
Could have got Mara with that one. That was a good one for Mara.
And Adi, do you know that, Mara?
Original or beginning?
You can, yeah. So in this, very good. She's on. So when we say Shravanadi, it means like it's a way of like saying etc. or something, like beginning with hearing, and it implies hearing, chanting, remembering, all the different 9 practices of bhakti. So it says through Shravanadi, beginning, through the practices of bhakti, that the chitti, the consciousness, the mind becomes purified, and that true nature that's in us, that's unprogrammed, it arises. It comes up. It's like the sun arises in the morning. Like it's in us there. It's going to arise. It's going to shine. That's what we're trying. That's called freedom, right? That's called freedom when actually you're no longer enslaved by the programming of the mind. And all the different, like there are 4 different like yoga paths that people commonly talk about. Like Ashtanga yoga, Jnana yoga, Karma yoga, and Bhakti yoga. And each one of them, it recognizes this fact: we become enslaved by our mind. We have a nature, a true nature underneath it all, right? Like this is where the Yoga Sutras begin. In the Yoga Sutras, each one of these 4 paths has a different strategy for how to deal with the mind. In Ashtanga yoga, the strategy is we're going to still the mind. It's almost like just hold it on one point so much that we're not enslaved by it anymore, and we can go into a state that we can't enter into in our enslaved state where the mind's constantly running. And it says, but if you can still the mind, then it says, then the seer or the soul abides in their own true nature, right? There's something underneath it all. In Bhakti, same idea, but rather than trying to still the mind, we're going to say, let's reprogram the mind through kirtan, right? Let's reprogram the mind through hearing Bhagavad-gita. Let's reprogram the mind through doing service. Let's reprogram the mind. Let's surround it. Let's build a whole culture where everything is bringing our mind or reprogramming our mind so that it's harmonious with my true nature underneath, with my nature of divine love. So I want to hear the right music, and I want to attend the right dramas. There's a whole culture, right? I want to see the right architecture. I want to observe the right rituals, all of that, hear the right books and contemplate the right poetry and all of that. And reprogram.
There's a way to bring forth what we are.
Yeah.
It's like my story about Naked Man in a Box. Remember that story?
Naked Man in the Box.
Naked Man in the Box. Mary knows it.
You want to go there? I mean,
I don't want to go there.
It's
I
been
won't tell
over
the whole
2
story,
years since you told that one, but it's a
I can't
classic.
tell it now. I can't tell. Okay. It's too involved. But the idea is Naked Man.
There we go. Well, if you're going to do it, you got to tell the whole story.
Now, just going to say Naked Man just wanted to be naked because he felt like I'm sick of being programmed by the material world.
Right.
So I'm just going to stay naked. But he did go out occasionally and need to wear clothes, but he would wear like bizarre clothing, like an old prom dress or something, unshaven, with,
like in other words, I'm not
drooping
programmed.
stuff.
I'm going to go against
I'm going to do whatever I want because I don't want to be programmed by
but
you.
I wonder
like you are.
If even
he was arrogant. It was
programming.
the problem with Naked Man in a Box was
he was programmed.
He was incredibly arrogant because he got down on me because I questioned his nakedness. I was like, "What are you doing?" What? He's like, he was like, "What do you want me to wear?" I was like, "I don't know, jeans, anything." And then he was like, "Yeah, because you're a programmed. What do you call me? Programmed
robot.
Puppet boy."
Oh, puppet boy.
Call me a puppet boy. I was like,
You sound like you're still upset about it.
I'm
You
still
gotta let
upset
this go.
by that guy. I just said, "Hey, man, why aren't you wearing pants?" That's all I said.
It was an innocent question.
It was. I didn't want to fight him. I was cool. I was trying to be
Okay.
open-minded.
To hear the naked man in the box story, you got to go back to episode 34. That was, I think today's like
Really?
834 or something like that. That was like 800. Is today 834? Was that
Wow.
yesterday?
Yesterday was 8:34.
Yeah. So you got to go back like
How do you
800
know?
episodes.
What are you, Mr. Index? How do you know that?
No, Mara put it up there. She's on it, Raghunath. She's just like the person on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
She's looking stuff up.
You were like Jamie from Joe Rogan. Anyway, Naked Man on a Box. That's the story. And he basically that. But I appreciated Naked Man. He wanted to get back to the original self.
But was he just as, was he in his, in other words, was it a trick that he was just as programmed as everyone else, thinking himself as like naked man, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? In other words,
Yes, but also the underneath the physical appearance also is the original mind, and the original mind isn't rude and cruel to people you don't know or asking innocent questions.
So that's proof. That's proof right there.
Yeah,
That he
because
hadn't
there's
gotten
an
to the
original
core.
mind and an original intelligence
Yeah.
that's quite loving.
Oh,
not-
it's gonna be.
you should-
It's gonna. Yeah.
You shouldn't be proud of your nakedness.
It's gonna be great when we're totally free, Raghunath. Right?
I'm working on it.
It's not far. I think for everyone that's listening to this show regularly, it's not far. Right?
Only a moment away.
We're really close. Yeah, we're really close.
I need someone hit me with a magic wand. Boom. You're
Well, almost
liberated.
there. All right.
Then I'll come on the show liberated. Like, Kostuba, it's great.
I'm waiting for that
Going.
day. Sometimes
Keep
I think you're
working
there.
hard, Kostuba. It's coming. It's around the corner.
Sometimes I think you're there, Raghunath, and then you go off on a squirrel, and we're like, oh no, he's still with us. All right.
Okay, let's get into the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I'm down.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Preshva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki, by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord is praised with transcendental songs will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. I love that.
Okay.
All that is troublesome to the heart. Isn't that really the only thing we're really suffering from? My troubles and troubles in our heart.
I tell you, Raghunath, every day I hear from somebody that's just going through intense troubles. You know?
Yeah.
Isn't it like that?
Every day they call you.
Some
You're
people
like, Dear Abby.
I'm just saying, whether they call me or whether
You know
I
who Dear
bump
Abby is?
into them, or I know who Dear Abby is, and I'm no Dear Abby, but I'm just saying,
Dear Kostuba.
it's the nature of this world. I think we're getting into that with the king, right? Let's get into it. Let's not go too far off here.
Mara, where are we?
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 7.
Narada's going to speak to the king now. And okay, so here's the context, right? The king was doing all these rituals to try to, develop material prosperity. He understood he wasn't on the right track, right?
Yeah.
And part of it involved animal sacrifice. And Narada's going to go right to that point.
I'd be like, I'm not doing this. I'm so not doing this.
Well, he was doing it.
I texted a devotee friend of mine yesterday because I haven't seen him in a while, and it was I know he was going through something. I said, "Hey, buddy, I haven't forgotten you. How are you?" And he goes, "Suffering in the material world, just according to the design."
That's good.
I laughed so hard.
That's how it's
I laughed
designed.
and was sad at the same time.
All right.
Okay.
But it's good that he can joke about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be hearing about that design. But what Narada's going to start by saying, you know what? There's karma for every animal that you're responsible for. it's going to come back.
Yeah.
Shows him a vision, it appears like he does something a little mystical here. Text 7.
Text 7. The great Saint Narada said, O ruler of citizens, my dear king, please see in the sky those animals which you have sacrificed without compassion and without mercy in the sacrificial arena. What do you mean by that, in the sky?
I think he showed him some kind of vision.
Some vision?
Yeah.
I was picturing like cloud animals.
I don't think it was cloud animals.
Text 8. All these animals are awaiting your death so they can avenge the injuries you have inflicted upon them. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta hurt the animals are coming
now.
after you.
Yeah.
After you die, they will angrily pierce your body with iron horns.
Ouch.
Now that I think about it, I ate meat and was a fisherman as a young child.
Yeah.
I probably have some fish karma coming to me.
I think he burned it, Raghunath. It's been burned.
Wishful thinking.
Karma to Burn. That's the name of the band, right? Karma to Burn.
Karma to Burn. It was a good name.
Mhm.
In this connection, I wish to narrate an old history
There you go.
connected with the character of a king called Puranjana.
Hmm.
Please try to hear with great attention, Kastuba.
Okay, this is where the allegorical story begins. Right now, he's gonna instruct the king. He's gonna instruct him through this allegory, but it's all about the king. He's gonna say, "There's another king." Right?
There's another king. Okay.
But this king is all of us, Raghunath. That's what I want you. It means all of us.
All right. You're going to tell us. You're going to spoil it for us
No,
here.
I'm not spoiling
My
anything.
dear king, once in the past lived a king named Puranjana. Well, that's his name, who was celebrated for his great activities. He had a friend named Avigeta, the unknown one.
Mm-hmm.
No one could understand the activities of Avigeta.
Yeah, Avigyata.
Avigata.
So two characters are introduced, right? There's the king named Puranjana. Now, what does Puranjana mean? It means
Chimera?
what does Jana mean, Raghunath? You
know? Jana means person.
Yeah, person.
People, the
people.
peeps.
Yeah, Puranjana. So Prabhupada says here in the commentary, says every living entity. I was saying this means all of us, right? Every living entity is Puranjana. The word Puram means within this body, within this form, and Jana means the living entity or person. Thus, everyone is Puranjana. Okay, so this allegory that we're going to hear, we have to put ourselves in the shoes of the king, right? Saying, am I trying to live like a king? Prabhupada says, every living entity is supposed to be the king of their body because the living entity is given full freedom to use the body as they like. They usually engage the body for sense gratification because one who is in the bodily conception of life feels that the ultimate goal of life is to serve the senses. This is the process of karma kanda, right? Karma kanda means there's a whole section of the Vedic literature that's about how to live piously to enjoy this world. One who has no inner knowledge, who does not know that they are actually the spirit soul living within the body, who is simply enamored by the dictation of the senses, right? They're thinking they're free. They're not free, Raghunath, right? Senses are pulling them around here and there. Who is simply enamored by the dictation of the senses is called a materialist. A materialist. Here's a simple definition of the difference between materialist and spiritualist, right? The materialist is thinking outside of myself, there are things that satisfy my senses, and that's where happiness comes from. Yeah. Spiritualist says within is where happiness is found, right? So a materialistic person interested in sense gratification can be called a Puranjana. Because such a materialistic person utilizes their senses according to their whims, they may also be called a king. An irresponsible king takes the royal position to be his personal property. Interesting. And misuses their treasury for sense gratification. So Prabhupada's saying, like, if we use our body for like selfish purposes, it's kind of like a king that's using the body's really not ours either, right? It's not our property. Just like the kingdom is really not the property of the king. But if he engages that power and that all that property for selfish purpose, that's kind of what we're doing in our body. So that's one character that's been introduced, Puranjana. Okay, Raga?
Gotcha. Now
a second character was mentioned.
Avigyata.
Yeah, and it even says Sakha Vijata. Sakha means Mara. Sakha, you know?
No.
Don't be a sucker, Mary. Mara, figure this one out.
Raghunath knows.
Oh, like a friend?
Yeah. Did you get
Ooh.
off the? You got it.
Yeah. It wasn't on the chat board, I swear.
Nice, nice. Okay, friend. And so this means the unknown friend. Sakha Avigyata, the unknown friend, or the secret friend, the friend that's not so apparent. And who is that in this allegory? What do you think, Mara?
Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna in what way, in what form, in what manifestation?
The paramatma.
Yeah,
Ooh.
in other words, so within the body, and the body is going to be mentioned soon, right? But so far we have Puranjana, he's the king. He's got an unknown friend. Prabhupada writes this. Everyone has this, they have a friend whom they do not know. Materialistic persons do not understand that God is present as the super soul, right?
Good analogy, huh? You have a friend that's with you. You don't know him. He's right there with you. You're not even recognizing he's in like the passenger seat.
Well, you know, we're gonna. One of my favorite passages in the Bhagavatam comes at the end of this whole story, towards the end of it.
Spoil it for us.
Well, we can do that, right? What happens is that King Puranjan is going to try to enjoy life, you know, engage fully in materialistic life, become disappointed, die, take birth as a woman in the next birth, right? And then Puranjan is now a she. Her husband dies.
Did you just say she, her?
Well, she, another she, she, her.
What are your pronouns?
Well, they were he, and now in this life, it's she, her. And so then Puranjan, she, is at the funeral pyre of her husband, right? This is Puranjan in the next life. And as the body of her husband's burning, the unknown friend comes and visits again, right? And says, "Don't you remember me? Do you remember me? We've been together for a long time. We're far away from our home." It's like the message of God within the heart to the soul. You know, a message that we're meant to be like attentive to, that we're meant to be hearing, that we are far away from our home, you know, and that I've had this friend with me all along that can speak to me from within. It's a I really love that passage from Bhagavatam. So that's coming up. But here Prabhupada's just getting the story started, right? We all have this unknown friend. Prabhupada says, materialistic persons do not understand that God is present as the super soul who is situated within the heart of every living entity. Although the paramatma sits besides the jivatma as a friend, the jivatma means us, right? The soul within the body. The jivatma, or the living entity, does not know it. Consequently, they are described as avigyata sakha, meaning one who has an unknown friend. The word avigyata cetasa is also significant because the living entity works hard. We're getting right back to the whole so-called freedom thing, right? They work hard under the direction of the paramatma and is carried away by the laws of nature. Nonetheless, they think themselves independent. They think themselves free. No one's more, what was it? No one is more
free than those who think no one is more enslaved than those who actually think they're free.
Yeah. So nonetheless, they think themselves independent of God and independent of the stringent laws of material nature. So this is saying that the Paramatma is with us all along. But if we're saying, I don't want God, then the Paramatma directs us away. Okay, I can facilitate that for you. I can help you move your body. I can give you the body that you want, and I can stimulate your direction.
It's an interesting philosophy at the very least. Right?
Very interesting.
It's very interesting.
You can't break it. You really can't break it. You can say I don't believe it, but you can't find an inconsistency in this. Yeah.
No, I can't believe everybody's not a devotee. I can't believe I just walked down this. I can't believe everybody's not just walking around chanting Hare Krishna.
Well, this is telling you why that's true, though, too, because they don't want to. So even though it may appear very logical and clear, the Paramatma is saying, you don't want to hear this, right? Like
you ever feel like going up to people? Listen, you want the truth? You want the secrets of the universe? I got them right here. They're right here.
I did that on the street for 13 years, Raghunath. I did do that.
I can help you.
Yeah, I can help you. I got the book right here. Just read it.
It's good.
Yeah. So, but in the past we've talked about the little turtles, right? That get born on the beach.
Oh man, I just saw a video of this. Go ahead.
And they start running for the water. What is it that's telling them to run?
Oh, that.
Right. What's telling that little turtle to run? The paramatmas, they're saying, you know, the thing just cracks out of the shell.
Paramatma's going, run.
Run. Yeah, but the thing just cracks out of the shell, right? Nobody's taught it to run. Nobody's even taught it about danger or anything like that, right?
And danger's there for those little turtles too.
It's had no training, but something inside is telling, run for the water, right?
Run for your life.
Run for your life. That's the paramatma, and they're saying,
I know.
okay, you're in the turtle.
All
body.
those turtle eggs. You know how many make it, Kostuba? Just a couple.
Is it that bad?
Oh my God! Mara, Google percentage of turtles that make it out of the nest.
Okay.
There's
Sea
crabs
turtles?
eating them, and fish eating them, and gulls coming down. It's like a slaughterhouse.
What a cruel way to be born into this world.
You wake up and you run for your life. Humans are doing it too.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I saw some nature
Now
video.
it's going to get depressing. Ready? Keep
I
going.
saw some
Kostuba.
nature video where these birds are born like way up high, like on a cliff, right?
Yes.
And like the parents at a certain point they fly down to like the bottom, and then the birds just like they have to jump out, right? They have to desperately try to fly, and usually as they jump down, they're like hitting different cliffs on the way down, and most of them like die. You know, that's like welcome to the world, right?
Welcome to the world. Mara says only about 1 in 1,000 turtles survive.
1 in 1,000.
Well, to adulthood. It says hatchlings die of dehydration.
I know. I want to know how many make it to the water.
Yeah, that's what we need to know, Mara.
Okay. Well, this says across all beaches, 7.6% of the observed hatchlings did not survive to reach the water.
So most make it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
They're doing
Observed
good,
predators
actually.
include.
They're doing all right, right?
All right, forget it. There goes my sympathy for turtles.
But all the credit goes to the paramatma that's saying, run, right? If they didn't have that message, they would all get
It'd
slaughtered.
be like, hang out. It's the beach.
Yeah,
Why? What's the rush?
What's the rush? Yeah, exactly.
You're
Okay.
on the beach. I've witnessed the birth of turtle eggs. I've
Really?
sat with these big, what do they call those? In Playa Grande in Costa Rica, I've been with these giant, Volkswagen-sized turtles. I mean, I was like a midwife for a turtle. Just come on, you can do it. Just push, breathe. And all the turtle eggs came and they ran. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. It was like being the kangaroo.
But
I was
hold
like
it, Rowan,
talking to
it's
those
not like
turtles.
it's not like they're born. Don't they bury those eggs for a long time?
I know. I was at the burying process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're at the hatching process.
No, I wasn't. I was at the burying. I've seen them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get to the truth.
Comedy had it
now.
right. The leatherback sea turtles. That's what
The
they're called.
leatherbacks. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's continue here. Prabhupada's saying,
You want to keep talking about turtles, huh?
well, you can apply it to turtle. The living entity, the turtle, the little turtle that's born, is the living entity is sanatana, eternal. Because they cannot be killed by any weapon, burnt into ashes by fire, soaked or moistened by water, or dried up by the air. That's all Bhagavad-gita, 2nd chapter there, right?
Yep.
That they are considered to be immune to material reactions. So even if that turtle gets snatched up by some bird and eaten, the soul of the turtle is eternal, right?
Yeah.
It goes on. Although they are changing bodies, they are not affected by the material conditions. They are placed under the material conditions, and they act according to the directions of their friend, the Supersoul.
What becomes like a relief hearing this? It's like, oh yeah, they're just changing bodies. It's a relief because you realize like it's happening to me too. It's like we're all going through this, leatherback sea turtle, baby. We're all going to go through this. We're all going to get pecked off by death. And I get it. We're not unique here. I think it's sort of good to hear this stuff. It frames out just the struggle for existence and survival.
That's there for sure. And
it takes a little, and we're not going to, and we're eternal beings. It's nice to have that going for us.
Mm-hmm.
It takes away a little bit of anxiety and fear.
And it's also talking about that this paramatma is speaking to us. But the point is like, what information do you want to get from the paramatma? The turtle is getting run for the water, right?
Yeah.
We may, and like the often the examples use the hog, right? Is getting the direction. Oh, the enjoyment is right there in that sewage, right? Just stick your snout right in there and dig in. That's what you want, right? Okay, here's how you do it.
You didn't have to go for that, but yes, that too.
Right.
You could have said the calf is suckling.
Well, I wanted to give a more, you
A
know,
grotesque. Okay.
yeah, I want to give some more grotesque. It's just in
Another
other words-
interesting thing about those sea turtles, Kostuba, it's also the paramatma. They're swimming like to like northern Canada. It's like it's not like they're just like, okay, we made it here in Costa Rica. Let's hang in Costa Rica. They're like got a whole path they're on throughout the Pacific Ocean. It's like, who's telling them to do that?
Paramatma.
Paramatma's directing them.
Right. But but this is the point. You see, in other words, we can't do anything without it be. We're just this little tiny spark.
Mm.
We fall into illusion that I'm this body. We're not even this body with all its frailties. We're this little tiny spark of energy that has no freedom except to desire, right? Make a choice. I want this or I want that. And it's the paramatma that's saying, if that's what you desire, I'm sitting here waiting for you to turn back to me. But if you want something else, then you can take births in all these different forms. Oh, you're turtle now? Okay, run. You know, you're a hog. There's the sewage right over there. Go for it. The whole point is that that paramatma is just waiting for us to turn back and say, you know what? I'm tired of running away from you. I want to come back to you. Then a whole nother level of instruction can come through, you know, that's beyond the mind. You know, the Bhagavad-gita in the 6th chapter, there's, you know, really important verse, you know, chapter 6, text 7, that says, for one who has conquered the mind, right? Chitatmanaha, prashantasya, you know, they find this tranquility, they find peace, right? And they say for that person, the paramatma samahita, the paramatma, the super soul, God within the heart is already reached. It's just the mind that's between us and the paramatma. When we conquer the mind, we turn to paramatma and say, I'm yours now, right? And that's actually freedom, right? Like, you know, to reconnect with the loved one is the freedom. Otherwise, it's just like that paramatma will direct us in so many wandering around this whole world. You know, I think even in this, is it in this verse that oh no, it's in the next verse. It's gonna use this word Brahma, like wandering. You know, there's quite a few verses that, you know, we were talking about one yesterday, right? But what was it? Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev, that the living
Jiva is wandering around in different forms and different bodies,
different
completely
universes,
confused,
all over the
identifying with the
universe.
body itself, doing some good activity going up, doing some bad activity going down, bouncing around body to body, planet to planet, universe to universe, species to species. What a ride.
What a ride. So Prabhupada is saying here that we get placed in these different bodies under different material conditions. The Paramatma is directing us. And then Prabhupada quotes this famous verse, right? Sarvasya chaham hridishana vishto mata smritir
Gyanam apoanam cha.
There you go. I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Whichever you want. If you want to forget, he can help you.
I want to forget. Krishna, can you help me with that? Yep. I'll take away your intelligence.
It's just like, you know, sometimes a girl breaks up with a guy. I just want to forget that guy, you know, like I don't want him to call me anymore. I don't want him to text me anymore. I just want to get him out of my mind and I want to move on. Right. It's kind of like we're moving around the world. I don't want to think about God. I just want to be free.
You even heard people say like that when you try to approach them. Hey, what do you think about this? I don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to have a deep philosophical conversation.
So that's
it would collapse their material plans.
Right. And so Krishna's saying, if you want to forget, I'll help you forget. Right. So thus the Lord as Paramatma is situated in everyone's heart, and he gives directions to the living entity to act in whatever way the living entity desires. What you want to live as the turtle? I can help you do that. You want to live as the hog? I can help you do that. If in this life and in their previous lives, the living entity does not know that the Lord is giving them a chance to fulfill all kinds of desires. No one can fulfill any desire without the sanction of the Lord. All the facilities are given by the Lord are unknown to the conditioned soul. We don't know that the whole thing is we're just this little tiny spark in a dark body, right? And our desires are being facilitated by this super soul, by the one soul that's connecting everything. It's an interesting philosophy.
It's an interesting philosophy. Okay, where are we?
Text 11.
Text 11. King Purandjana began to search for a suitable place to live, and thus he traveled all over the world. Even after a great deal of traveling, he could not find a place just to his liking. Finally, he became morose and disappointed. It's like looking for an apartment in New York City. King Puranjana had unlimited desires for sense enjoyment. Consequently, he traveled all over the world to find a place where all his desires could be fulfilled. Unfortunately, he found a feeling of insufficiency everywhere. Isn't that the material world? You just feel a little, nothing will quite satisfy me.
Yeah, that's what's going on here, right? What is this, text 12? Yeah, text. We could read the purport, but we don't have. Yeah, we got time. Why don't we get into it?
Of 12.
Yeah.
It's just like that first verse from the Lord Chaitanya's Shikshastakam, that the holy name actually, what is it? It quenches the desire for material. Wait, what is it?
The taste for which we're always hankering.
The taste for which we were always hankering. Like we're always hankering for a sweeter taste.
Yeah, we're never satisfied, right?
Yeah. Okay, here's the purport here. A Vaishnav poet named Vidyapati sang the song, Tatala Sakate Vari Bindu Sama Sutamita Ramani Samaje. Not quite like that, but that's something like that.
I think it's like Tatala Sakate Vari Bindu Sama Sutta Mita Ramani. Yeah, I can. It's Bengali, but I don't know the meter for this. Seems like it's Chaitanya.
You're allowed to correct me, but you have to be right. That's stupid.
Yeah, well, okay. I tried. I'm not allowed to
It's
try.
like this.
I'm
It's
not allowed to
like
try.
No.
All right.
Material sense gratification with society, friendship, and love is herein compared to a drop of water falling on a desert. Sounded good there for a while. Society, friendship, love. It's like a drop of water in a desert. A desert requires oceans of water to satisfy it. And if only a drop of water is supplied, what is its use? Similarly, the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, is Ananda Mayobhya Sat, full of enjoyment.
Okay, so I'm not only a lover by nature, but I'm full of enjoyment by nature, right? Because I am of the same nature as that source.
Being part and parcel of the personality of Godhead, the living entity is also seeking complete enjoyment. However, complete enjoyment cannot be achieved separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
That's the root.
Yep. Don't try it. Don't try to have a private God life and then a private secret material life. They don't work well together. In his wanderings in different species of life, the living entity may taste some type of enjoyment in one body or another. It's not just like humans. Every creature is thinking, oh, this is enjoyable.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Even something grotesque. They're programmed to
like
think this is quite.
You go back to those horrible videos that we've been watching on Instagram on Nature's Metal thread, right? And like that one, I mean, it was the worst one I ever saw, right? Where it was like 5 jackals eating some kind of
antelope or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is great. We're getting a fresh kill.
They're thinking, oh yeah, this is wonderful. Look, man, I get to sink my teeth into this. This is delicious, It's thinking that this is enjoyment. We look at it and say,
this is repulsive, but then we do our own types of material enjoyment and think, this is enjoyment.
Right.
Okay. A deer may become absorbed. Thus, Puranjana, the living entity, wanders
I see. Okay.
In his wanderings in the different species of life, the living entity may taste some type of enjoyment in one body or another, but full enjoyment of the senses cannot be obtained in any material body. Yeah. Thus, Puranjana, the living entity, wanders in different types of bodies, but everywhere meets frustration in his attempt to enjoy.
Okay, so it's saying that the nature, the whole setup is that whatever body you're in, whether you're in the jackal body or the antelope body or the turtle body or the hog body or the human body, that the nature of the self is it can't find full satisfaction in any of these bodies. And so then what happens is you take on another one, you keep thinking, the next one will satisfy me, the next one, more designs are presented to you one after another, but none of them work.
That was me last night with dinner. It just didn't work out as planned.
You overate last night or something?
I did. I overate last night. I broke my thing. Sorry, Mara. We had a thing we can't eat after 7. I broke it.
Oh, you ate after 7 too?
Yes, I ate after 7.
Robin.
All right.
Sorry, I just didn't know.
Where was Moses? Why wasn't Moses?
Moses was off duty yesterday. What was up with Moses?
Why weren't you calling Jiva at like at
I know,
2 in the
Chief, I
morning?
need your help. It was like one thing, then Cindy Lunsford, hey, have a sweet potato. I was like, okay, I'll have a sweet potato. Hey, have some vegan gluten-free macaroni and cheese. I was like, all right, I'll have some of that. Hey, it was just like, it was one disaster after another until I was like, all right, it all stink.
You're helplessly enslaved.
I'm having a bowl of gluten-free Trader Joe's cereal for dinner. That's how it ended.
All right.
And this morning I felt it. I was like, I did it. I had such a good diet.
Let's wrap up this purport here.
Similarly, a fish, very expert in
No,
gratifying.
hold it. It says, in other words, the spiritual spark.
In other words, the spiritual spark covered by matter cannot fully enjoy the senses in any circumstance in material life.
It just won't work.
That was me. I tried. A deer may become absorbed in the musical sounds vibrated of a hunter. So that's like, like a duck call or a deer call.
Mm-hmm.
But the result is that it loses its life. Similarly, a fish is very expert in gratifying its tongue. But when it eats the bait offered by a fisherman, it loses its life. Even the elephant, who is so strong, is captured and loses its independence while satisfying its genitals. Does it?
I think the idea is this is how you trap an elephant, that you dig a huge hole and you kind of put something above, and then you put a female elephant on the other side of the hole. And then the elephant comes and falls into the trap.
Okay.
I've heard this. So I've heard. That's how you catch an elephant.
Oh, Kostuba, wise man.
You learn so many things on this show.
All right. Then the next question is, Mara.
How do you get it out of the hole?
How do you know? Oh, that's enough.
That's what I was thinking.
How do you get it out of the hole? How about how do you catch a female elephant?
Oh, yeah, it's true.
It's like they're not easy to catch. In the human form of life, he gets an opportunity to enjoy all his senses pervertedly. But the result is that he becomes so harassed in his attempted sense gratification that he ultimately becomes morose. As he tries to satisfy his senses more and more, he becomes more and more entangled.
Okay.
Man, Prabhupada really takes the fun out of material sense gratification.
He's shown us an alternative, though, so it's not like he's just shown the dark side. But he's saying if you ever want to get to the light side, you got to think a little bit about the dark side.
You got to think it through. That's postulate number 2. Think it through.
I don't know if that's postulate number 2. We got to work on
I came up with these postulates.
I know, but I got a whole idea about them. We'll talk.
What?
Think it through. I don't think that one works.
Think it through is a great one. Think the whole damn thing through.
Well, let's think that one through.
We can get a mug that says "Think it through."
I do have a mug.
I'll get you a mug. Yeah.
I
as
have
long
a
as you
mug.
don't make it postulate number 2.
Okay. All right, Mara, what do we got? It's 7:01. We need our takeaways.
Okay. Get in touch with the self under the costume changes.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Break free of the programming of the mind.
Break free. We're break free.
Don't question nakedness.
Never.
Liberation isn't far away.
Yeah. Yeah, we're real close. We're real close. If we're here, we're doing this, it's close. What was that? Didn't like that one.
You didn't like that one. Be attentive to our unknown friend.
Hello, unknown friend.
We're all baby sea turtles about to get picked off by the crab of death.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I
yeah.
saw. That's the video I saw. The crab
We're
eating.
crab
the baby.
of death.
Conquer the mind to reconnect with paramatma.
There you go.
We won't find
They're like a gothic band, Crab of Death.
Crab of death.
we won't find full satisfaction in any body.
Not any material body.
Right.
Yeah.
And rethink cockroach scampi.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
Oh, come on. I don't want to end on that. I'm thinking of it now. You planted that in my mind, Mara.
Learn how to trap a female elephant.
Yes, there you go. Learn how to trap a female elephant. I can go away with that today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Woo! Another great day started by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Isn't it? Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Srimad Bhagavatam, the elixir. Srimad Bhagavatam. We need some more subtitles.
Shrimp cocktail. It's not a drink.
Drink.
How's that one?
It's why call it a
It's not
cocktail?
just for
Isn't a
breakfast
cocktail a
anymore.
drink?
Cocktail, I guess it
Krishna.
just means things being mixed together, I suppose.
Is that what a cocktail is?
Look up cocktail, Mare.
Okay. I
Like
think it
there's a
might be because
Molotov?
you eat
Yeah.
shrimp cocktail like while you're
Oh.
drinking cocktails. I don't know.
No,
It's an
that's
appetizer?
just speculation. Why is shrimp cocktail called a cocktail?
I don't want to talk about shrimp. I don't like shrimp. And I'm not like, oh, because I'm above it. It's just never appealed to me. Now I can't get these thoughts out of my mind. Think happy thoughts. Think happy thoughts. Think happy thoughts. Daisies, sunflowers.
Nancy says it's served in a cocktail glass.
Yeah, there's that.
Oh, there you go.
Sunflowers.
That must be
Sunflowers.
it.
Baby bunnies. Petting baby bunnies. Thanks everybody for joining us. I gotta go make some.
You're recognized. You look like you're little. You're starting the day off on the wrong foot here. What's going on?
It's the shrimp scampi analogy.
I'm sorry. I told you it was graphic. I warned you. I gave you a trigger warning.
You want to go back to the sea turtles getting picked off?
Yeah, but picked off by crabs. I can take that. At least I'm not picking them off. If you said like baby sea turtle scampi, that would have disturbed me too. Now I'm thinking of that. Oh, thanks everybody. I'm gonna go. I gotta make breakfast. It's breakfast day.